Hi everyone, just want to say hello. I've recently had quite a few people join this page, which is so nice, and quite a few people commented on the things that I'd made recently and said, oh, it would be really nice if you talked a little bit more about that, or, you know, can I buy them, which to me just seemed crazy. I've been sewing, God, since I can remember. My nan taught me, and I guess it's the sort of thing that you're never quite really confident with, I suppose. You always learn something every time you sew something. So to people who don't sew, I think they think, oh God, I wish I could do that, which I guess and I was, oh God, you can, and they go, yeah, but you're just saying that because you sew, which is definitely not. It's something that I think can look like it's really overcomplicated, but shows now like Sewing Bee and things like that make it go, oh, actually I want to give that a go. So I guess I just want to show the things that I'd made recently, the patterns I'd used, and hopefully install a bit of confidence to make sure people have a go, and hopefully like the sort of things I'm talking about. If I'm not, feel free to say, and I'll stop. But yeah, so I'll get started. This was a dress I posted that I did quite early in lockdown. It's just like quite a boxy shape, which is my sort of thing I like. This fabric's actually IKEA, which people were like, oh my God, is that your own designed fabric? And I was like, definitely not. IKEA's great because you get, it's obviously furnishing fabric. We've actually got our chairs in the dining room upholstered with it. Not this, like a polka dot. And it's quite thick, but it's definitely still wearable. It's great for cushions, curtains, but it does really work as something that's really good to sew with. It doesn't move around, so if somebody wanted to try and maybe have a go at a cushion or something, as like a first time project, I've even got skirts in this type of fabric. It's just really good to sew. It's obviously not see-through, so there's no need for lining, so it's a really good fabric if you're into the more funkier prints, because they do some simpler things, but I suppose with IKEA it's quite quirky. So it's knee length. It's got a really nice back on it. It's just like a tie, so no need for like a zip or anything like that. So yeah, I love this, and every time I try and wear it, it rains. So that was that one, and this was the Tilly and the Buttons patterns, which come like this. They come with a lovely book that goes through everything. You've got like tips for beginners, which is always really good. And you always pick up something, a jargon buster. Some of the things they're saying, you go, even I go, well, what on earth does that mean? And a pattern size guide. So a lot of the time, something's good to look out for, something someone told me when I did a sewing course once, it's always worth looking at the finished garment size, because I always look at my measurements and think, oh, well, Tilly and the Buttons goes 1 to 10, so it's like a size 6 to a 24. And my measurements look up as if I'm going to do like the 24. I'm probably about 16 to 18. Sometimes I like things baggier, so I'll go bigger. But in the finished garment guide, you actually look and you go, oh, well, actually, no, I am making like the 18. So it seems weird, but it's always worth checking the finished garment sizes and then kind of maybe go in between. So that's always a really good thing to look at. And then obviously how you lay your fabric out. And then it's got all beautiful pictures of how to complete your garment. And these patterns are, they're so well priced. And because they're newer patterns, the pattern pieces aren't like what you'd usually get. So old-fashioned patterns, you're looking at more like a sort of tissue paper type consistency, which is how it's always been done. But personally, they're really easy. And once you've you've got to be really careful with them, then put them back. And obviously when you're pinning them onto your fabric, it tends to rip. But these newer patterns, they come with just like a decent paper size. It's nice and thick. It's like as if it's simplified. I mean, on the older patterns, you tend to get a lot of lines and different things that I think can make people initially go, I don't know what any of this means. Whereas this is really simplified down. So obviously this is the pocket. Cut one, you've got your grain line and obviously what the pattern is. And I like top edge, which again, it always has been included, but it's just always looks a little bit more complicated on the older patterns. I remember first doing my first ever pattern and opening one of these up and thinking, oh, I don't know what to do. And panicking, to be honest, and thinking I'm not going to bother. So it's sort of, I had to build my confidence, but I'd say newer patterns is a good way to start, just because they are sort of aimed for people who maybe start. I mean, a lot of these starter, which is really good. So yeah, these patterns are just beautiful, and this is the Stevie one. And also, obviously, you can make this into like a top as well. So you don't necessarily have to do the dress. You could do a shorter top. You could crop it even shorter. You can make it longer. So they're really adaptable, which I love. So that was that one. The next one I made was this dress, which, to be honest, I made quite a while ago, and then didn't get around to finishing the buttonholes. So it's like a very 50s-y sort of style. It's got this really oversized collar on it, and then buttons down the front. I picked these up from Vintage Shop in Ironbridge, which is always a good place to find a bit quirkier buttons, because you tend to get them in like packs of 2 and 3, or like on the original card. So it's quite a nice thing to get cheap, and then you always tend to find the right project for it. So yeah, this was this one. It's got an elasticated waist on it, which is always good. Little cap sleeves. This fabric was from John Lewis, which isn't my usual stop for fabric. We were in there in the Birmingham one, and I was like, oh my God, that's so beautiful. They had it draped round one of the mannequins, and I thought, I've got to have that. And it is a beautiful thick cotton. There was obviously no need to line it, and just really nice for the summer. And they do have lots of beautiful fabrics, and sometimes they're not badly priced, but you know, it's always just worth a look. But it wouldn't be my usual place, but I did love that. And this is the Evelyn pattern. This one came out of a Simply Sewing magazine. But you tend to, if you want one like this, you can normally find them online. People tend to sell them on eBay and things really cheap. But yeah, this was a really nice pattern. And obviously a little bit of a step up, just because it's got that, it's not lined, but it's got like quite a big facing, which covers all the way down the buttons, and then obviously you insert it into this big collar. Again, like, not too overcomplicated, it just takes a bit of easing in, and you know, pin, and then, you know, don't sew until you're sure. But this went in really, really nice, so I was really happy with this. Again, yet to wear it. But there's a picture of me in that on my page. But yeah, that was this one. Really good pattern. And then the last thing is what I'm wearing. This one is like a sort of dungaree type set. Really comfy. It's got quite wide legs. I just got them, I think they were meant to go longer, but obviously I'm about 5'5", so I just had them to my ankle, and I did a belt on this one, but it's really roomy. There's no like zip or anything, so you just sort of like pull it on. This is from the Tilly and the Buttons book, which this is the first one I've had. She also does like a stretch book, so if you're into more like jersey tops and stuff, that would be really good. But it's actually this one that's on the front. It's such a beautiful book. It actually comes with loads of patterns in the back, which is great. But this one's quite clever, because it starts off with the trousers that they're suggesting you make, which is these ones, which are spotty, which, to be honest, I just want them in this fabric. But it's the Sophia trousers, and then what's quite clever in this book is you start with obviously the trousers, but then it kind of adds on if you want to like add a bit more like an advanced element to it. So say if you wanted to add pockets, that's probably the next thing, and it's like got times of, you know, how long that's going to take, so you can kind of time yourself. There's little like tick boxes, which is really good. So it just adds an extra element on. And then this is like, these are the dungarees, but this is the Sophia trousers, but then obviously you add the top pattern on. So it's quite nice, because you could do the trousers or you could do the jumpsuit. But it's obviously advancing your skills a little bit. So if you've done the trousers, you think, oh, well, I can definitely do the dungarees, which I really do want to make those trousers. So again, it's just, this is the beautiful lady in there. You know, just it kind of takes you along with it, so you don't feel too, it's too daunting, but, you know, it's just laid out so beautifully. And again, like with all the pictures, it was so easy to follow. And you can get this off her website, or I think you can, no, you can't buy this pattern separately, it is only in the book. But she did actually recently do like a sew along So it was literally her going video by video, so you could just do it in your own time, which was lovely. And I just wanted to say, this fabric, if you're beady-eyed, this was the fabric on week 1 sewing bee that Mark, who I love, he was robbed. This was the fabric that he did, and it came on, and I was like, oh my God, I've got that fabric. And then the pattern he did, I had upstairs. So I was like, I'd never use this pattern. I'd never use the fabrics. That's just typical me, buying a load of fabric and not using it. But yeah, so this was the one, I think he did the one with the really, really big sleeves, which would be what I would go for. There wasn't enough of this fabric to do it, and it's probably now sold out everywhere. But yeah, I did try, but then I ended up doing the dungarees in them. But yeah, this was this pattern. Anyone who's interested, it's Vogue Easy Options V9239 is that one. And again, like you can see in them, there's so many different styles, but it is this sort of pattern, which I think once you build a bit of confidence, they're fine, they're not overcomplicated, but I think it can be a little bit, it was daunting to me. I'm not saying that's for everybody. I definitely need to tie these tighter. Normally Cray does it. But yeah, that was that one. But I love this fabric. And I think that's it. Hopefully you've enjoyed this video and just talking through some of the different patterns that I use. Hopefully you want to see more. I've got some new fabric that I bought recently. So hopefully I might do a video talking through the projects I've got going on, so let me know if that's the sort of thing you might be interested in watching. Last thing to mention, if you like this page, you'll notice that I tend to do a lot of things on Etsy. Mainly there's lots of things I knit and crochet, and lots of macrame. I'm going to do a little bit of a competition to try and help some followers come to the page. I seem to have quite a lot on Facebook and my own one, but it'd be nice to keep it on Nifty Stitch. So I do some kits. These are just the empty boxes. So I do like a necklace kit, which is like something like this, and loads of different colours. And then the macrame kits, I do 2 kinds. One is slightly more complicated than the other, but nothing too complicated. And I sell those on Etsy. So I'm going to do a bit of a giveaway competition that if you like and share the page, I'm going to draw 3 names and give those away. So that'll hopefully be posted later, but if that's something you want to get involved with, make sure you keep an eye and then hopefully win a kit. But if you want to look on my Etsy page, that's in the bio. But they're really good kits. Again, a skill that I just thought, oh, I love those, and then did it, and then now I've made hundreds. So, you know, you can see how it's easy to pick up like a craft or a skill, and sewing is just so, I don't know, it's just my favourite thing. Especially now when I'm just at home and my partner Gray's at work. I'm just sewing away like a busy bee. So it's kind of nice to be able to talk about some different things, and there's such a good community online. I love watching other people sewing videos and things they buy and fabric, and just encourages me to buy more. So yeah, so it's good to get an interaction. So let me know what you think, and if you want to see more about the sort of projects I've got coming up. Yeah, and I'll leave it there. I hope this wasn't too terrible. I've never done this before, and hopefully it'll upload. But yeah, see you all soon anyway. Bye.